Hi hat lovers, welcome back to Vintage Fashion Hat Chat. I'm Norma Shephard, director of the Mobile Millinery Museum and the author of 5 books on vintage fashion, including 1,000 hats. And today I've brought you a selection of velvet. 'Tis the season, and a lot of the fashion stylists are declaring that velvet is back. So let's have a look at where it's been. I've brought a variety of styles from different eras, and let's just enjoy it. The first one I want to show you is a cone-shaped hat. Now that is not always seen. This is a modification on the Tyrolean style. And this particular one is a silk velvet. Look at the richness of this color. Of course, velvet has a certain pile. If you're sewing with it, you have to make sure all your segments are going in the right direction, in the same direction. So it's a little tricky. It's also tricky to handle, a little tricky to deal with if it's soiled, but I'll talk about that in a minute. I want to show you the gorgeous lining from this hat. Beautiful, beautiful blue and gray print. And the label on this one, which is from the circa 1960, is Marie Therese Original. So this designer was a Quebec millinery artist. And another great thing about velvet this time of year is you can put a nice pin on it. It makes a great backdrop for something sparkly. And this one is an example. Again, another rich jewel tone silk velvet. It certainly shows the dust. This one needs a brushing in this light. And there's been lots of draping and pinning and stitching to go into this particular one, which is a variation on a turban. This label is Jean-Guy Haute Mode, 1960s. You can tell this great graphics on the label. Often they were very, very bold labels, very large in the late 1960s. So this actually is pretty much a classic style that's been done again and again, and would have looked terrific this time of year, you know, during the holidays. Gorgeous. Now another one that's more Easter-like is this beautiful mix of silk velvet fabrics. Terrific colors, almost petal-like. This configuration, it's got a very low crown. This is probably late 40s or early 50s, judging by the graphics on the label. So you've got beige, chocolate brown, pumpkin, very soft green, and then these wispy little ostrich fronds. This is a real beauty. Oh, we've got a stray. These are some of the things we need to attend to. There's a stray thread there. Let's take a look at the label Vogue de Paris, 6780 St. Hubert Street, Montreal. And maybe some viewers might remember that shop. This is really sweet. Very demure. Sweet. Now, another really scrumptious velvet. Oh my goodness, look at this one. This is it's really, really rich. Of course, again, with the ring light, you can really see the dust on this, and we're going to give this one a good cleaning. Just a dusting, really. There's nothing really soiled on this piece. The brim is wired, and you can see that both the crown and the brim have been done in segments. There's some great black satin banding, and also some piping between the segments. And this is an Otto Lucas, Bond Street, London. So yes, Otto Lucas started out, I think, in the 30s marketing hats, but then he began to design. He was a millinery designer out of England. He also sold to American markets. You won't find anything of his any later than the end of the 60s. He was sadly killed in a plane crash in 1971. And this as well has one of these large labels, so typical of the late 1960s, and it looks like some of the glue from the label has migrated. So this is another great winter piece, terrific. Even at Christmas you could even add a pin to this, although it really doesn't need it. Now we're going to go back to the Edwardian era for the next one, and this is a real treasure. This is almost a pattern on the velvet, which has been stamped into it. Hope you can see it. So let's take a look at the enormity of this. A wonderful Edwardian piece, which I've shown before in a different context, showing some Titanic era hats. Ostrich feathers again make a great trim for this hat. There is no label, and so this is the way it sits now, but when this hat was new, it would have sat quite high on upswept hair. That was the style at the time. Just terrific. And of course, velvet is one of those fabrics that it just makes you want to touch it. I had a coonhound that had wonderful, soft, silky ears, and to me they felt just like velvet, only a little even nicer. There is some interesting patterning in the ribbon that bands this hat, and of course the Edwardians were very lavish in their dress, so in addition to the ribbon and the feathers, and there's more than one type of feather, there's a spray here, a rooster tail as well, that this probably would have shown off quite a large and fancy hat pin as well. So there's a little primer on velvet. I should tell you that if you do have a spot on velvet, if you've got a lovely vintage velvet hat and it has a spot on it, the best way to attempt to clean that would be a little mix of lemon juice and baking soda. Mix it till it foams, and then you scrape off the foam and pat it on the spot. And then you pat it again with a dry cloth, and hopefully when that dries you'll be able to brush it with a soft brush and bring the pile back, because usually if a velvet hat is spotted, it's almost like matted when it gets wet, so you don't want to get your velvet wet, but there are some ways to deal with some of that soiling. So that's what I have for you today. Once again, I thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please give us a thumbs up, and we will see you again. In the meantime, have a happy day.